לדור ודור נקי גודלך לדור ודור נקי גודלך
Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, I am Harry Gold, a senior here at the New England Jewish Academy. This week's Parsha is Parsha Pekudei. We are given the final accountings of the materials needed to finish building the Mishkan and its various vessels, the menorah, and the special clothing for the Kohanim. Hashem commands the materials are to be put together and everything to be completed by Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And so it was. Before the accounting begins, we are told that all was accomplished according to the commandment of Moshe, through the service of the Levites, by the hand of Itamar, the son of Aharon the priest, and Betzalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehuda. And with them was Oheliab, the son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, a craftsman. This was the leadership team, the heads of the departments responsible for making sure everything was done according to divine plan and standard. What makes this intriguing is that we already know all of this. We know who these leaders are, and we know what their role is with the construction. So why did the Torah take the time to re-mention them? The Baal HaTurim, an influential medieval rabbinic authority, often referred to as simply the Tur, notes that since Betzalel was the chief architect and supervised all the people working on the project, the Torah accords him with the credit of as if he personally had done all this with his own two hands. The point here is that the Torah is not attempting to bestow glory and honor to these leaders, but rather to acknowledge their commitment to leadership and service as an example for all of us to learn from, for all generations. Each leader mentioned was responsible for everything associated with their role, including everyone that was working for them. They were tasked with building the Mishkan to perfection, according to God's will, a very heavy task. Yet, this select group took on that mission and all that it entailed, regardless of what it could cost them individually, an act of selfless devotion meriting their mention. In this light, on behalf of all the students, families, and New England Jewish Academy community, I want to acknowledge and thank all the people who have taken responsibility for this school and worked to see it grow and thrive, especially this year's honorees, Dr. and Mrs. Leichberg, and the President Award recipients, our Medical Advisory Board, Dr. Carolyn Ganellis and Dr. Arlen Lichter. In addition to offering us a lesson on leadership, the end of Parsha Pekudei connects to the theme of this evening, Dor Ledor, generation to generation. Following the accounting of the materials and the building of the Mishkan, the Kohanim are appointed to their roles, the Kehunat Olam Ledorotam, as an everlasting service for all generations. As Kohanim are born into service and priesthood, so too all of us are part of this community that is committed to service Ledorotam, for all generations. Let me then leave you tonight by offering the very blessing with which Moshe blessed the people upon the Mishkan's completion in this Parsha. Vayhi noam Hashem Elokeinu aleinu, u'maaseh yadeinu konenehu. May the grace of Hashem our God be with us, and the work of our hands may he establish. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and good night.
Good evening. I'm very happy to see all of you at our gala. This is a chance for us to celebrate our students, our faculty, our school, and our community, and we have much to celebrate. Last year, much time was devoted to developing and maintaining the protocols that would keep our schools safe and in person. This year, as these protocols have become routine, the joy and high spirits that mark a typical day at NEJA have returned. My day always begins with a lot of smiles as I get to greet our adorable students at the lower school. For me, morning drop-off has been the perfect opportunity to meet so many of you and get to know your families. At the upper division, there's no denying the exuberance and camaraderie that the kids bring to school every day. Their joy at being with their friends and teachers, and the sheer fun of having all their club activities and sports restored. It's a very happy place. For NEJA, this year has been one of significant growth. We have seen our enrollment trajectory shift sharply upward. From 104 students on opening day a year ago, we now have 120 students in the school. Our outstanding faculty and academic programs, jaw-dropping tuition rates, strong value proposition, great word of mouth from all of you, and the desirability of West Hartford as a landing spot for modern Orthodox families should continue to drive healthy enrollment growth for 2023 and beyond. There are new programs rolling out at all levels of our school. Since September, our students are benefiting from a new and promising collaboration with Jewish Family Services aimed at providing social work services for our entire school. With the social and emotional health of our students always a concern, we plan to expand our programming with JFS in the coming months. In early childhood, our new Reggio Emilia-inspired program will provide a shining gateway to our school for young families. Reggio creates a child-centered learning environment to allow small children to follow their curiosity and design their own learning. Lower school students are benefiting from new restorative practice and Choose Love programs designed to support healthy emotional development, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. And new informal Judaic learning opportunities in the upper school will support our school's mission of graduating well-rounded young women and men committed to a life of Torah and mitzvot. Looking forward, we are all very excited to be breaking ground on our new West Hartford campus expansion. The dream of unifying our school onto one beautiful campus is becoming a reality. Having all of our students under one roof will allow us the flexibility to program in wonderful new ways, especially around the Chagim and special days on the calendar. Like the high school, the new lower school library and classrooms, including the early childhood rooms, will be state-of-the-art. While schools around the country closed for weeks and months last year, NEJA, with God's help, didn't miss a beat, and we're on track for another full year of learning. In addition to God's help, we have been blessed to have the most dedicated and caring medical advisory committee, Dr. Ganellis and Dr. Lichter. They've worked around the clock to keep our school community safe and our school doors open for in-person learning. I owe them a personal debt of gratitude for speaking with me multiple times per day to manage all the pressing medical questions that arise. While I worked with Dr. Leichberg for only 1 year, I thoroughly enjoyed his affable nature and admired the easy rapport he had with his students in his classrooms as they collaborated to solve some very difficult physics and calculus problems. Sam, I miss you. All of our programs and growth would not be possible without our esteemed principals, Dr. Nabel and Rabbi Silver, our board members, led by our co-presidents, Yitz and Juanita Moss, our dedicated parents, and our generous donors. I want to express my deep appreciation to the devoted and talented faculty and staff of our school, who have been going above and beyond these past 2 years in the face of unprecedented challenges to ensure that each student is receiving the academic skills and emotional support they need to support their healthy growth. Our students as well have met this moment with extraordinary grace and menschlichkeit, and with encouragement from their teachers, have demonstrated flexibility and deep commitment to their own education. Working together will continue to strengthen NEJA for our current students and for generations to come. May we continue together, Mechayel El Chayel, from strength to strength.
New England Jewish Academy is built on the storied foundation of Hebrew Academy and Hebrew High School of New England, two wonderful schools that gave us so much to the community.
As we reflect on the merger of our two institutions these past few years, and as we combine our two campuses into one, it is not lost on us how many families have been with us from the beginning.
This drew our focus to the theme of celebrating Dor Lador, generation to generation.
In our way of life, Jewish education is of the utmost importance, and in sending Batsheva and Ari here, we were aiming to have them grow into Jews who have a self-respect for their being Jewish and for their tradition and for their history and for everything that it means.
Tonight we have the privilege of honoring Judy and Sam Leichberg, allowing us the opportunity to highlight their incredible devotion and commitment to New England Jewish Academy.
What a perfect example they have set for practicing Dor Lador.
Judy and Sam's foundation was built long before they enrolled their own children at New England Jewish Academy, when Judy herself attended Nija Day School.
Judy and Sam then enrolled their son Ollie and daughter Batsheva. In turn, Batsheva's 4 children and 2 stepchildren attend as well.
That's 3 generations. Talk about repeating customers.
Judy and Sam have supported the school in so many ways. They have trusted New England Jewish Academy with their children and grandchildren. They are repeat donors, and their daughter, Batsheva, is the director of admissions at Nija.
Judy and Sam organized the Summer Seed Kolo program for many years. This highly successful and robust program provided Kolo boys visiting West Hartford over the summer with classes and learning opportunities.
Sam volunteered on the education committee, and both Sam and Judy donated a Sefer Torah to the upper division in memory of Ari and Batsheva's grandparents. There was even a huge Haknasat Sefer Torah down Bloomfield Avenue.
As if that wasn't enough, Sam also taught physics, calculus, and algebra at the high school, and retired just last year. He is missed by his students as well as those students who didn't yet have the opportunity to take his class. The students still ask him to come back to teach.
The fact that I am a part of a 3-generational family at Nija is no mere coincidence. Rather, it's because of Bubby and Saba and their unwavering dedication to family values, Torah, and Jewish education.
My grandparents embody everything that is true and good in Judaism. They lived their lives by the beautiful Jewish values and outlooks that were taught. They define what it means to spread goodness in the world, and they do that through the Jewish values that they embody. Regardless of the situation, regardless of who they're talking to, my grandparents lead by example, and they show the world just how beautiful Judaism is.
I met Judy and Sam just over 5 years ago. Immediately I saw how special they were, what was important to them, what they were transmitting through their family, the values that they were transmitting, how Jewish education meant so much, education in general, community means so much. All of these were so strong and went through their whole family. Becoming part of their family has been such a wonderful thing for me and for my children, and I'm so proud to be part of their family now.
As a member of the family, I've gotten to experience how caring Bubby and Saba are, but I've also gotten to see how much they care about our community. They treat the community as more than just a group of people who share a common belief and live close to one another. They really treat it as a family. They put themselves out there and are there when something needs to be done or whenever someone needs to be helped. And that's something I really admire.
Bubby and Saba are some of the most fun and loving grandparents anyone could ask for. Thank you, Bubby and Saba.
We laud Judy and Sam for being more than just a link in the chain, rather very important, active participants in the chain. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant them and all of you good health, to be able to continue in all your efforts, and may they see much nachas and fruits from their labor.
I want to say to my parents, Ima and Abba, I love you so much. I'm just so proud of you for all that you've done and for the recognition that you're getting now for that incredible work. I'm grateful to you for what you've taught me and Batsheva. So many things, but including your commitment to Jewish community and education. I feel like our community has been blessed by all that you've done. The community which I grew up in and the community that you've been a part of for pretty much your whole lives. So everyone, I'm really honored to introduce my parents, Judy and Sam Lachberg, as this year's Gala honorees.
Wow, that was quite something. I feel overwhelmed, and I thank you so much. So I'll start at the beginning. When post-Holocaust, my parents came to the United States by the way of New Britain, Connecticut. Soon after, they moved to Hartford after learning that there was a yeshiva there. Jewish education was a top priority, and they sacrificed much to make this possible. And so, my brother and I attended the Yeshiva of Hartford. The presence of the Hebrew Academy made it possible for Sam and me to return to West Hartford. While attending the Hebrew Academy, Batsheva and Ari experienced a good education in a warm and caring environment. Sam and I had to sacrifice as well. There was no Jewish high school here, and so they attended high school out of state to continue their Jewish education, which was our top priority as well. When Ari's 8th grade graduation was looming, a group of parents worked together to fund and create a 9th grade for the coming year. We were thus able to delay sending our children out of state for at least one more year. We would have given anything to have our children here with us through their high school years. The establishment of HHNE made it possible for Batsheva and her family to move to West Hartford. Sam and I have had the ongoing incredible privilege of watching our beautiful grandchildren, Tova, Meira, Jordan, Maya, Siona, and Amitai, grow, thrive, and become amazing in so many ways. The education, they're being challenged in so many ways, the opportunities, warmth, personal attention, and the dedication of the teachers and staff have opened for them a future of great possibilities. Tova, Meira, Jordan, and Maya attended the college of their top choice. I can see that Siona and Amitai are well on their way. The greater Springfield, Hartford, and New Haven communities are indeed blessed to have Nija here. Nija here to stay with all of our support is vital for the continued growth of our communities. Sam and I will always be eternally grateful to all those involved, the visionaries, founders, planners, builders, teachers, and staff for bringing Nija to an astonishing reality. So thank you all for making it possible for my daughter and her family to come back home.
And I will build on Judy's comments. Continuing the thread of the Weiss, Leichtberg, etc. family at the school, which started with Judy's mother, which working to facilitate kitchen activities at the Yeshiva of Hartford, and then Judy and her brother attending the Yeshiva of Hartford from beginning to end, followed by Batsheva and Ari, growing and thriving at the Hebrew Academy from nursery through the 9th grade. And all the while Judy and I were working with the principals of those times, Rabbis Rosenfeld and Rabbi Hilsenrath, to facilitate things like Hanukkah festivals and seed programs and education committees. But what really flowered in this thread was when our daughter and grandkids were able to move back to West Hartford. Thank you, HHNE. And we watched the grandkids grow and thrive in this warm and nurturing educational environment that the Hebrew Academy and HHNE gave them. And these are not just words, because for 8 years I was teaching here at the high school, and I observed firsthand, up close and personal, the superior high-quality education that the students receive here at the hands of faculty that are and staff that are devoted to them. My time teaching here overlapped with all 6 of the grandkids that we have here in West Hartford. They are so much better for the experience of being here in this school. Judy and I are so blessed for having witnessed it. Nija, keep up the good work. Thank you.
I loved when they came home with their Parsha cards and their Parsha questions. And I still, to this day, my grandchildren come home and they want to get quizzed. They want to show how much they've learned about the Parsha of the week. So I remember that. I remember the plays, some of the plays that they put on that were just so clever. Elena was in a play where she had to sing this song, "What is my Hebrew name?" Remember that?
What is
My Hebrew name. And it was just so cleverly done in a limited space that they had there. The teachers, both the secular and the religious teachers, they just loved the kids. And I see that even now. There's just so much love and affection. This is a genuine relationship.
I was inspired to send my children to Nija. I was hoping for them to receive the same Jewish values that I learned, especially things like respect, which I think is really important. Respecting your teachers, respecting your elders, respecting your friends, respecting yourself. Other core Jewish values like thanking Hashem. So they daven so beautifully at school, which I love seeing, and it's fun because I remember a lot of the songs that I learned and a lot of the prayers that I learned, especially starting from preschool onward, that I get to hear them sing with such enthusiasm now.
These last few years have not been without its challenges. The COVID pandemic turned our world upside down, and we're fortunate enough to have the support and leadership of 2 amazing doctors who helped us feel some sense of normalcy in an ever-changing world.
They, along with the entire medical community, deserve our praise and gratitude.
Dr. Ganellis and Dr. Lichter have worked tirelessly these last few years so that we were able to continue in-person learning while the majority of schools went virtual.
As a result, our students were at an advantage, never having to take a break from in-person learning. Additionally, our graduates were better prepared than most when embarking on their college journey.
Being able to continue with in-person learning was a luxury many were not afforded during the first year and a half of this pandemic. Having consistency has been an advantage during these important high school and college prep years.
Dr. Ganellis and Lichter spent countless hours discussing best practices, providing COVID tests for students to return to school safely, and speaking to parents and faculty to educate and provide comfort during this very difficult time.
We are excited to bestow this year's President's Award to Nija Medical Advisory Board members Dr. Carolyn Ganellis and Dr. Arlen Lichter.
When I told my dad I would be introducing him for the gala, I joked I was reticent to publicly associate myself with him. I know that at any given time, half the parents are upset he's adopting an overly stringent approach to the COVID-19 pandemic, while the other half is upset he's not stringent enough, and I have no desire to wade into that morass. But the truth is, there is actually no one I am prouder to be connected with. My dad is one of the most ethical and empathetic people I know, and these attributes have made him a stellar doctor, a caring and involved father and grandfather, and a beloved friend and family member to many. Indeed, my mother's mother was famous for her line, "Arlen, God bless him," because of how frequently he went out of his way to make her life easier. My dad's commitment to individual friends and family dovetails with his wider commitment to the Jewish community and our local Jewish institutions, and in particular, NEJA and its predecessors. My parents sent all 3 of their children to NEJA's predecessor schools. And over the past 30 years, my dad has served in a variety of leadership and board roles at NEJA. He has capped that service these past 2 years by working tirelessly with Dr. Ganellis to help NEJA navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, many of us have skimmed the very, very, very lengthy COVID emails from the school to find out how COVID would be upending our lives on any given day. But you may not have realized what goes into those communications. The huge sacrifices my dad and Dr. Ganellis have made to try to follow the science, adhere to the regulations, keep the school doors open, and keep staff and students healthy. It has involved hours upon hours of reviewing CDC, state, and local guidelines, routine calls with nurses and doctors throughout the state and local communities, nightly calls with individual families with unique situations and concerns, and weekend marathon sessions with the school administration. Both my dad and Dr. Ganellis have given so much and so selflessly over the past 2 years, and they are so deserving of the recognition they're getting today. And so, with absolutely no trepidation, I am proud to introduce my father, Dr. Arlen Lichter, as one of today's honorees.
Good evening. If you're listening to this message by video, well, then it means the pandemic is still disrupting our lives. It's been quite the past 2 years. First, the low light. It's been a pandemic. Nobody wanted to spend 2 years dealing with a virus and its many form-changing evil spawn that has had such a profound effect on our lives, work, and school. Caroline and I did our best to balance the ever-changing CDC, state, and local guidance with the need for the school to stay safe and open for in-school learning. Please forgive us for being the bearer of difficult guidance and policies. Now for the highlight. The best part of my involvement with NEJA this year has been the absolute pleasure of working with Carolyn and Nady. Their professionalism and good humor during these trying times has been frankly inspirational. It has allowed me to better get to know Dr. Nabel, Rabbi Silver, Batsheva, our great nurses, Barbara Rouse and Christine Pettit, teachers, administrative staff, and some of our students. This has been the highlight. In last week's Parsha Vayechel, the people come together to donate precious metals and all forms of precious material to build the Mishkan, a physical representation of a better spiritual life and future. In a similar sense, we as a community came together to protect and place our most precious assets, our children, in a Jewish day school, our spiritual future. We and our children gave up some of our freedom to physically and spiritually protect our school community from disease and lost learning. It was a community effort that we should all be proud of. Carolyn, thank you for partnering with me in this endeavor. We all know that you have a very busy pediatric practice, and you did a remarkable job fielding all kinds of questions day and night. I am sure that you look forward to the day that you can focus on all the normal pressures of private practice. Caroline and I would like to thank NEJA for this recognition and hope that in future pandemics, may God keep them far away from us, some other lucky medical professionals will be similarly recognized. As for Caroline and myself, well, we hope to fade into the COVID sunset soon. Not that we haven't enjoyed all the meetings, late night calls, parent input, which really was mostly extremely respectful and insightful. But you know, all fun must eventually come to an end. But really, we are extremely thankful that no one in our school community became seriously ill from this disease. It's time for everyone to move on from this. So hopefully you won't be hearing from Carolyn and me anytime soon about COVID. But if you do, please remember that we are just a conduit for guidance that ultimately comes down to us from a much higher power, the CDC. Stay safe, and thank you.
Welcome, everyone. I now have the great pleasure of introducing my mother. A hardworking woman from Muncie, New York. No, I'm joking. I speak for Simon, Gabi, and Daddy in congratulating you on receiving this award. I know that you have been working almost as hard as Dr. Fauci to ensure that Nija has been functionally able to sustain its in-person attendance throughout the pandemic with minimal disruptions. This sometimes meant long hours on the phone, many long evenings of policy discussion, and tough decisions. I applaud your continued willingness to give so much of your time in whatever way you can to help the community, and I've been imbued with a strong sense of service because of you. I know how much this community means to you, and I know how important you are to this community. I hope you take great pride in knowing that people can always count on you. This has been a tough 2 years, and as we transition back to our new normal, I hope that you continue to represent the best this community has to offer. Oh, and of course, I know that they can continue to count on you for any medical advice they need whenever, wherever. Okay, maybe not to that extreme, but you get the point. Anyways, I love you very much, and I congratulate you on this honor.
Thank you for this honor. My husband, Andrew, and I have been blessed to raise our children in this West Hartford community and have them attend this wonderful school. I feel Jewish education is very important and has been such an integral part of our kids' development, from creating a warm connection to Judaism to fostering a strong sense of Zionism. The myriad of moments at the Hebrew Academy and HH&E were so much a part of whom they have become as young adults. All 3 boys did a gap year in Israel. One already made Aliyah, and one is in Technion in Haifa and speaks of making Aliyah over the next few years. So when asked by the board to advise our school on how to be safe for COVID, I felt compelled to step up and serve. Who knew we would still be doing this in 2022? As many of you know, Arlen, Nady, and I have spent countless hours discussing how COVID has affected our school, our parents, and our staff. What you may not know is that I have spent more time on the phone with them than I have with my own kids and husband during this time. I've come to respect them both very much for their wisdom and thoughtfulness. It has been a very difficult 2 years for all of us in so many ways, but I am very proud of our community, our concern for each other over this period, and our ability to keep the school open and our children learning. For all of us, the pandemic has caused us to reevaluate our lives in a safe and healthy way for our families, both physically and emotionally. Thank you for all your continued patience with us. I truly appreciate your recognition and wish everyone a year of continued safety and good health. Thank you.
Our longtime association with Jewish education in the Hartford area began when my siblings and I started at the Yeshiva of Hartford on Cornwall Street in the 1960s. Soon after we began, my mother, may she be well, volunteered at the Yeshiva's gift shop, a fundraising effort. We then followed the school to Rockwell Avenue in Bloomfield, where the school stayed temporarily until the Gab Road facility was completed. During that time, my mother ran an invitation fundraising effort for many years. And while on Gab Road, my mother taught and then retired as a beloved kindergarten teacher of 25 years. And today, after moving back into the area, some of our own children have gone to and are presently in school here. We have come full circle. My wife Mindy works in the Learning Center, and I teach and am also the director of Jewish Life in the Upper Division. So we have gone from the Yeshiva of Hartford to the Hebrew Academy of Greater Hartford to the Bess and Paul Siegel Hebrew Academy, and finally now to the New England Jewish Academy.
Definitely one of my fondest memories from Nija was in 8th grade, each class would do an art project that they would present around the school. And until recently, they were all still hanging everywhere. So it took a lot of time. It was a lot of collaborative effort. And that's something that I think we were always proud of when we would go back to the school. We could see our art projects. And Mrs. Hilsenrath, who was the then principal's wife, guided everyone through the process.
I do have an earliest memory of when I was at Hebrew Academy. I remember very specifically, I was in kindergarten class, and there were these coveted cubbies where we got to do work like big kids. And I was sitting there and I had made a piece of paper and we were learning the difference between Gog and dog, a roof and a fish, totally different words. And I couldn't get it straight, but my friend Shira, who was sitting right next to me, got it right away. I was a little jealous of Shira, and she helped me out and helped me figure out Gog and dog. But we were in the coveted cubbies, acting like big kids.
Some of my fondest memories of the Hebrew Academy were very much the result of the former principal, Rabbi Hilsenrath. One of the nice things that he did is he had these what he called simcha buttons, which were little, smiley face emoji buttons, like, the have a nice day smiley face. And every year he would get them in a different color. So from year to year, as you progressed through school, you would have an entire collection of different colored smiley face buttons, simcha buttons.
I think the values that I received from my Nija education are really centered around respect, around priorities, and those are things that carried me from childhood all the way to this day.
I hope a Nija education instills in our children a sense of community.
A Jewish community is a safe place. It's a place where we can all come together and celebrate our shared values and our shared traditions, and that's really a #1 thing that we want to pass on to our kids.
I think the values we'd like them to instill in our kids would be loving the people around them and valuing Judaism and learning and just having an overall sense of being people in the world that try to make this a better place.
My ultimate goal is for my kids to come out and be proud Jews, proud leaders on college campuses and beyond when they are living their adult lives.
I think my favorite teacher right now would be Miss Lorenzo because she's like a math guru.
She is?
She's many years teaching math. It's not like about what answer you get. She's okay if you get a wrong answer, that's fine. It's just about what your thought process is.
I love Nija because you have to get learn Hebrew.
I'm learning about how to say like different words, like what they mean, like what Beit Sam means, and then I put them on cards, and then sometimes I do them as games.
My favorite thing is to like play and color because I was an artist in preschool.
As a student here, I would just really like to emphasize how our school I'm pretty sure it was you who brought it, but I also might be you, Saba, about how the school really focuses on one's character. And just because of how much everyone cares, specifically like the teachers and staff, and how much they care about the students. It is such a good school for personal growth. It is such a good school for personal growth also in educational ways.
Now more than ever, as we join together on one campus, in one building, we need your support. We continue to grow our student body and continue to build a strong Jewish community.
We hope with your help and God's blessing, we will reach our fundraising goal. Thank you.
זכר טוב ורוזכן, תהילתו מדלן, ברוך שם כוונתו לעולם ועד. טוב וציווה לנו משה. ציווה לנו משה. מורשת קהילת יעקב, מורשת קהילת יעקב, מורשת קהילת יעקב, תורה ציווה לנו משה.
לדור ודור נקי גודלך, לדור ודור נקי גודלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור נקי גודלך,